Hi, I'm Barry Isaac, and this is my wife Barbara. Welcome to Last Mountain Berry Farms.
We don't use preservatives. We don't use high-pressure cooking. It's made just like you do on a stovetop, like you'd make for your family. We process 7 different varieties of fruit. I have to go Saskatoons, blueberries, blackberries, raspberries, strawberries, and a red cherry. And we do an apricot occasionally. And we do fruit syrups, whole fruit syrups.
I was born on this farm, and my grandfather settled here in 1905, and I had 2 bachelor uncles that lived in that little house over there. We're getting up in age. They were about 70 years old, our age. And I said, you know, they won't be around forever. We should go up and spend Christmas with them. So we came up, and for a week, ended up staying a month. And my grandmother, there was still a lot of preservatives down the old root cellar, down the cellar in the house. And choke cherries and Saskatoons and wild raspberries that she'd preserved, and they were still down there. So Barbara,
They were 20 years old.
Not much to do in January in Saskatchewan. So she started messing around on the stove, making syrup and making jam. And,
that's where the jam came from.
And she said, you know, somebody should really do something with this because it's so different. And I said, well, look, I've been building houses for 25 years. Why don't we do it?
And here we are.
Well, we moved here in 1989.
Yeah.
And we planted 2.5 acres of Saskatoons in 1990, and we built the first 100 feet of this building. In 1991, there was such a humongous crop of Saskatoons out there that we hired all the kids in the country, and we started picking, and Barbara started making, and by December of '91, we were actually in production. This is what we started with. It was kind of a gift pack.
Yeah, little teeny jars and small containers.
This was my job. It was making the pencil boxes, and then Barbara and the girls would make the jam and package them. We stopped making these when we got an order for 5,000 of them from Vancouver. I couldn't make the darn things fast enough. I could only make 80 a day. Yeah, this was the kitchen.
This was the kitchen. This was the cannery.
Yeah.
Right here. There was a long...
A big island here. That's what the rug's covering up where the pipes used to come through.
And there were 2 range tops. They were raised up about 12 inches high.
Yeah.
4 burners here and 4 burners there, and then just a bench in between where we could cool our product as we made it.
We used to live in California, and we used to shop at Price Club. And I remember saying one day to Barbara, I said, you know, if we ever started selling to Price Club, we'd have it made. Well, I'll be darned. In,
they called
I think,
us.
September of '93, they opened in Regina. They wanted us to come in. She'd seen our product at IGA, Lakeside in Regina. And so I took her a sample. We just made little 250 jars. I mean, that was the biggest product jar we had. And that's where we started. The first order they sent an order in for every Price Club in North America.
Say, whoops.
We had the old roller type fax machine. Took the whole roll. It was all laying on the floor in there. I couldn't believe it. Well, she could produce 2 pallets a week. That was full production.
In little 8-gallon kettles. Yeah. I could do 9 of them a day and no more. It just grew.
So anyways, so I had to phone them, of course, and say, you know, it's not possible. We're not Kraft Foods or somebody like, or Smuckers. So anyways, they said, okay, well, what can you do? I said, well, we could probably do Regina and Saskatoon. Just the local market, just Yorkton, Saskatoon, Regina, and everything in between. I made the route every week. And
We took it out, he took it out, hit all the stores, put it on the shelf, and if they sold it, then we got paid.
We use 1 million pounds of fruit, about, and all the Saskatoons, of course, come from Western Canada. All the blueberries, strawberries, and raspberries come from the Fraser Valley. The cherries come from last year we bought from Wisconsin, or wherever it's available, and the apricots, of course, come from California.
One year we had blackberries from Czechoslovakia.
Yeah.
That's the only place they were available.
Yeah. Well, then the day before it's going to be processed, it's taken out so it partly thaws, and you can get that way you can get it out of the pails.
When we buy it, it's already in a 5-gallon pail. It's been cleaned.
Yeah, it's all
cleaned and ready to go in the kettle. It's ready for processing.
All done under Ag Canada rules. Take it out the day before, then we load the kettle, and then the next morning it's turned on and they start making up the product for the day. It takes about 2 hours.
2 hours, 3 hours total cooking. By the time you turn the kettle on and start bringing it up to temperature.
Time it heats up and pasteurizes, and then everything's added, then it's pasteurized again, and then it's poured. In 45 minutes they do 1,000 jars.
Incidentally, we're the only people in the world that do a 2-piece home canning lid on the containers.
All our canning jars are home canning. You can reuse them.
They're all reusable.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, it's better to see them reused than to go in the landfill. A lot of the time, Costco wants something new. Just a little bit more for this season. A little change of fruit, and they'll make a request. We put it together. One year we ended up doing the blueberry, and another year, what was it?
We make a superfruit, and you know, like pomegranate, blueberries, Saskatoons aren't registered as a superfruit, and that's a shame.
I think once people find out the nutritional value of a Saskatoon, and it is a superfruit, I think that the sales will go up.
Probably, yeah.
And we can take advantage of being a superfruit by flagging the label and let people know that it's high in antioxidants, and it does have that special nutritional value. Another good fruit, and I don't know how to go about it, is the choke cherry. And we make a dynamite choke cherry jam.
Well, you can purchase them in Western Canada just about anywhere. Costco, any Loblaws, which is Superstore and Extra Foods, and those. Safeways, Federated Co-op carries our pie filling. Sobeys in Western Canada.
It's just like I make on a stovetop for my family. Only we do it in, what, a 250-gallon kettle?
Yeah, and we do 4 kettles a day now. We do 1,000 gallons a day now. We started restoring basically mid-1950 Fords.
Yeah.
And the first car we did was a 56 Meteor Crown Victoria.
But that's because it was your first car.
And that was my first car when I was a kid. And then we restored that and took it to Branson, Missouri, which is the international car show for 54, 5, and 6 Fords. And we got Best of Show and People's Choice with our first car. Yeah. Then we restored a 56 Thunderbird. And we just finished last spring, we finished a 56 Meteor convertible and took it to Penticton and got first place again.
We talked about taking a road trip. We have a 56 Continental.
Mark II.
A Mark II, very special car.
That we just finished restoring. In fact, the man that owned it from 1962 to 2008 was the man that he worked for NASA, and he was the one that did, when they landed on the moon, the first one, he was the man that did
He
the
plotted the
trajectory.
course.
He calculated how to get there. And we just picked up a Mechanics Illustrated magazine, and it's the 40th year for the NASA, for landing on the moon, and he's in it, David Reed. Now that it's restored, we want to take it back to Massachusetts, where he lives now.
Let him see it.
And let him drive it. Oh, I just enjoy doing it. I've been down in the shop all morning. I just like to see it carry on the way it is, because it's been quite successful, and no complaints.
Is this just a...
Product development, if we think it might be a good thing, go to the stove and cook
Start
it up.
working.
It's a pretty basic recipe, as any woman that makes her jams for her family. It's a basic recipe.
But you're not going to share it, of course.
No. What people want is what we'll do. If they ask us for something, we'll try. And we usually do it.